Do you remember that night? The night they dragged your old man away? He cried, begged, pathetic. And your mother, how she wept. I told her justice had been served. The chains rattled. The iron doors slammed shut. And in that moment, the prison itself seemed to hold its breath. A new inmate was being dragged through the corridor. But he was no ordinary prisoner. His steps were slow, arrogant, as if the shackles on his wrists were nothing more than ornaments. His smirk carried the same poison it always had. And yet, every eye followed him. From the guards standing stiff at their posts, to the hardened criminals pressed against the bars of their cells. Everyone knew this man, or at least, they thought they did. Once, he wore the badge. Once, people saluted him. Once, his word could destroy lives. He was law enforcement, respected, feared, untouchable. But beneath the uniform, corruption festered, power twisted into greed, and justice became his weapon. He silenced the innocent, protected criminals who paid him, filled his pockets with blood money, and left broken families in his wake, families like hers. At the far end of the corridor, she stood, keys hanging at her side, boots planted firmly on the cold concrete floor. A prison guard, disciplined, calm, unyielding, but not just any guard. She was the last person he ever expected to see. Because years ago, she was nothing but collateral damage in his empire of corruption. Her father, dragged away in chains, accused falsely, branded as a criminal. Her mother, humiliated, destroyed, and driven into despair. Her family, shattered by his lies. He had laughed as it happened. Believing he would never pay, believing the badge made him untouchable. But the world had changed. The badge was gone, the power stripped away, and what remained was a convict in a gray uniform. Just another number in the system. And waiting for him, in the place where justice could no longer be bought, was the daughter of the family he had destroyed. The other inmates sensed it. They whispered behind the bars, nudging each other. They could smell the tension in the air. This wasn't just another prisoner intake. This was something different. The prison lights flickered overhead, casting harsh shadows across the concrete walls. The chains clinked with every step he took. And though he tried to walk with pride, his arrogance was already cracking. Because at the end of that hallway, her eyes never left him. Cold, piercing, unforgiving. The silence grew heavier. Even the guards seemed to wait for what would happen next. Would she follow the rules, calm, professional, disciplined? Or would the past finally demand a price? Would this be just another routine intake, or the beginning of a reckoning years in the making? He smirked again, trying to hide the fear crawling beneath his skin. But this time, no one laughed with him. Because everyone knew something was about to happen. Something no one would forget. And as he stepped closer, the question loomed heavy in the stale prison air. Would she remain the guard, or become the hand of justice? The prison was alive with chaos. Chains clattered against concrete. Guards barked orders. Prisoners slammed fists against the bars, jeering at the fresh wave of inmates. But then, he walked in. Marcus Kane, the once powerful cop. The man who thought himself untouchable. Every sound seemed to die at his arrival. His smirk radiated arrogance. He walked as if the chains on his wrists meant nothing. The inmates pressed closer to their bars, sensing a different kind of drama. Whispers spread like fire. And then his eyes landed on her. Elena Ward, the prison guard at the end of the corridor. Calm, still, unyielding. For the first time, Marcus's smirk wavered. Recognition flickered. But arrogance returned just as quickly. Well, well, he sneered, his voice echoing. If it isn't the little girl from the broken family. The inmates turned, intrigued. A few laughed nervously. He raised his voice, savoring the moment. I wondered what became of you after your pathetic father rotted in jail. And look at you now, grown up into a uniform that doesn't fit. Pretending to be strong. Pretending you belong. The crowd stirred. Some inmates chuckled. Others watched, sensing something personal. But Elena didn't move, didn't flinch. Her gaze was locked on his, cold as steel. Marcus stepped forward, chains scraping. His words dripped with venom. Do you remember that night? The night they dragged your old man away? He cried, begged, pathetic. And your mother, how she wept. I told her justice had been served, but we both know it was my word that mattered back then. I was the law. I was untouchable. The hall fell silent. Even the toughest criminals felt the weight of his cruelty. But Elena remained stone, her hand resting lightly on the keys at her side. She began to walk, each step deliberate, boots striking the floor like hammers. The sound echoed through the corridor. Marcus's smirk faltered, but he pressed on. What's the matter, sweetheart? Don't have the guts to face me? You can lock me up, but you'll never be more than the daughter of a criminal. You think this uniform makes you strong? You think you've won? She stopped inches from him. Her voice was low, but sharp enough to cut the silence. You destroyed my family. You dragged my father into chains. You broke my mother's spirit. And you thought you'd never pay? Every inmate leaned forward, breath caught in their throats. Her eyes narrowed. But look at you now. No badge. No gun. No power. Just another number. Just another cell waiting for you. Marcus's jaw clenched. The cracks in his armor showed. He snarled. He spat. But the words that once commanded power now sounded empty. The hall was no longer his stage. It was hers. Marcus's face twisted with rage. The laughter in his eyes burned hotter, desperate to mask the fear creeping beneath. He raised his voice, turning to the other inmates. Look at her, he shouted. A woman. A girl. A fraud in a uniform. And you all sit there and act like she's in charge? The cell block stirred. Some inmates jeered. Others smirked, emboldened by his defiance. Marcus pushed further. Tell me, is this who you bow to now? A little girl from a broken home? He laughed, a harsh, barking sound that echoed off the concrete walls. For a moment, it seemed he might rally them. A chorus of chuckles spread through the crowd. But Elena didn't move. She stood in the center of the storm, her expression unshaken. Her silence was louder than his voice. The laughter faltered. The jeers died. And one by one, the inmates grew quiet. Marcus sneered, frustration breaking through his mask. He lunged forward, chains clanking, teeth bared in a snarl. But Elena was faster. In one swift, fluid motion, she seized his arm, twisted his wrist, and slammed him against the cold, unforgiving wall. The crack of his body hitting concrete thundered through the corridor. Gasps erupted. Prisoners clutched their bars. Even the guards, hands on their batons, froze in stunned silence. Pinned, Marcus groaned. His arrogance shattered against the stone wall. His face contorted in pain, breath ragged. You think this makes you strong? He spat, struggling against her grip. Ha, you think you're better than me? Her voice was a blade. No, this makes me your guard. And every day you wake up in this cage, you'll see me. You'll remember what you did. And you'll know justice doesn't forget. The words sank deep, cutting through the last remnants of his pride. She let go. Marcus crumpled to the floor, shackles clanging as he fell. He tried to rise, but his body trembled. The once feared officer, now reduced to nothing more than a man in chains. Whispers swept the corridor. Not mockery, not laughter, but awe, fear, respect. Elena stood tall, her eyes sweeping across the inmates. None dared meet her gaze. The message was carved into the silence. She was in control. Marcus looked up, eyes wide with a new expression, one he had never worn before. Fear. Elena leaned close, her words a dagger. You wanted power. You wanted to crush lives. Now yours belongs to me. And the sweetest punishment isn't your death. It's your shame. Day after day. Until the end. She straightened, stepping back as two guards moved in to drag Marcus away. His steps faltered. His shoulders sagged. Hey, the smirk that once defined him was gone, replaced by the hollow stare of a broken man. The corridor remained silent. Even the air seemed to pause, heavy with the weight of what had just unfolded. In the cells, hardened criminals, murderers, gang leaders, predators sat in silence. They had seen many things within these walls. But this was different. This was the fall of a man who once believed himself untouchable, and the rise of a woman who carried justice like a weapon. As Marcus disappeared into the shadows of his new cage, whispers began to spread. Low at first, then louder. A single truth traveling from cell to cell. This guard is not to be crossed. The iron door clanged shut. The sound echoed through the prison like a final verdict, sealing Marcus Kane inside his new reality. The man who once commanded respect with a badge now sat alone in a concrete box. A steel bed, a toilet in the corner, 4 gray walls that offered no escape, and silence, so thick it felt alive, pressing down on him with every breath. He sat on the edge of the bed, head in his hands. For the first time, he wasn't calculating, wasn't smirking, wasn't in control. He was just broken. Outside the cell, Elena stood motionless, her face unreadable. To the guards around her, it looked like routine, another intake, another criminal processed. But to the inmates who had witnessed the confrontation, it was different. They stared at her with new eyes. Not as the female guard, not as the girl from the broken family, but as authority. Unshakable, unyielding. The whispers spread faster now, crawling through every block, carried by every inmate who had seen the fall of Marcus Kane. A new story was born inside those walls. And in prisons, stories are currency. Some called her ruthless. Others called her justice. But all agreed on one thing. She was not to be mocked. Elena turned slowly, walking down the corridor. The clink of her keys echoed like a metronome of authority. Her boots struck the floor with steady rhythm, each step a reminder of the balance of power. Prisoners pressed against their bars, watching her pass. Not one dared to speak. Not one dared to laugh. The silence was deafening. In that silence, Elena remembered. She remembered her father's hands in chains, dragged away on false charges. She remembered her mother's broken sobs, echoing in a courtroom where truth was twisted into lies. She remembered Marcus's smirk back then, the same smirk he had worn today. But today, the smirk was gone, replaced with fear, replaced with shame. Justice, at last, had spoken. Not from a courtroom, not from a judge, but from the cold concrete of the prison itself. As she reached the end of the corridor, a guard approached. "Intake complete," he said softly, almost respectfully. Elena gave a curt nod. She didn't need recognition. She didn't need applause. Her victory wasn't in what she said, or even what she did. It was in the silence that followed, in the eyes that no longer dared to challenge her. Inside his cell, Marcus sat still, staring at the bars. Each one was a reminder of the power he once abused, now turned against him. Every day, he would wake to see her face. Every day, he would be reminded that the little girl he tried to destroy had risen higher than he ever could. His torment wasn't death. It wasn't pain. It was shame. And shame, in prison, is heavier than any chain. Elena paused at the door, taking one last look down the hall. The prisoners remained quiet, their eyes averted. Respect was earned here not through words, but through strength. And tonight, she had earned it. The door closed behind her with a metallic thud. But the story lingered. A story the inmates would whisper for weeks, months, even years. The day Marcus Kane, once untouchable, was broken by the very woman he had once destroyed. Justice was no longer blind. Justice was no longer distant. Justice wore a uniform, carried keys, and walked these halls every single day. And her name was Elena Ward.